Hello and welcome everyone. You're watching the Cup That Matters, our special on the ICC 2015 World Cup. And today we bring you a very special edition right from the centre of Hamilton, where India plays its next match against Ireland. This small idyllic town in the middle of New Zealand that is known for much else than just cricket. But today, of course, we'll concentrate on cricket. India so far has been stupendous in the group stage, winning all 4 of their matches. But how important will be this one against giant killers Ireland? We'll talk about that and much more. And who do we have here? Sourav Ganguly, the former India captain. Sourav, nice to bump into you in the middle of the city. Are you enjoying Hamilton?
I have not been able to enjoy Hamilton so much because my clock has got completely
wound up.
Haywire. Yes, I am sleeping at 5:30 in the morning. I came in yesterday and I've just got any sleep. I just woke up luckily for your show and just had a stroll around and it's good to see you. And it's a beautiful city though. It's a small city.
Yeah.
It's probably will be one part of Delhi.
Yeah.
one corner
just
of
one
Delhi.
Corner of Delhi.
Just
exactly.
one corner of Delhi, as big as that. But New Zealand has always been pretty. We moved to different states of New Zealand from here, and hopefully we'll enjoy the beautiful country.
Do you have any memories in Hamilton?
Yeah, I've got a test 100.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes, I've got a test 100 in Hamilton in 1999 when I came in here for the first time. I think I played a one-day game here as well. I can't remember. But I remember my test 100 here.
We'll quiz Dada about what else to do in Hamilton, what are the places around, if he's been to any. But you talked about being laid back in Hamilton. This is that kind of place. Can India afford to be laid back? They play Ireland next.
I don't think India can afford to be laid back, and neither they will. They have been in top form in this World Cup so far, although it's still early days. They're much better side than Ireland. They have seen what Ireland has done to the West Indies. It has been pretty consistent in this World Cup. A lot of their players play county cricket, so they're not just players who work from 10 to 5 and then go and play cricket after that. They're actually professionals. They're actually the strongest of all the associate nations, whether it's UAE or Afghanistan and Scotland, because they play a lot more cricket consistently. So they will put up a fight. India are a much stronger team, much more talented team, much more equipped team, whatever you say. And I don't think they will have any hurdles tomorrow, but they'll have to be at the top of the game.
Right, we're going to talk to Sourav more about what India needs to do against Ireland and what is that Ireland can bring into this game. Remember, they're fighting for the second spot in Group B, which they would like to get. 2 more games to go for them. But first up, let's set up this clash for you. Here's the preview to India versus Ireland in Hamilton.
The Indian team's caravan now shifts from Australia to New Zealand. And now the team plays 2 matches in Kiwi land. The first of the remaining 2 group matches is against Ireland. Ireland, who are minnows on paper but giant killer indeed. The question now is, how should Team India approach this contest? Should the team try a few players who have been on the bench so far? Should the team try a few new tactics to ensure that they do have a plan B if and when it is required in the competition? Or should the team just take it easy and treat it just like another match against a weak team?
They're a much better side than Ireland and Zimbabwe. It's no competition actually.
The good part though is Team India has already qualified for the knockout stage of the tournament. What is also significant is that Team India has so far seen off some very tough opposition and conditions in the tournament.
They were a better side than the West Indies at the WACA. They are a better side than Pakistan. I'm not too sure whether they're a better side than South Africa at the WACA. So that solves the problem, and I don't think they're going to get this pitch again. So just put it behind and move on.
Let's move on. Absolutely. India would like the sound of that. But the next 2 matches in New Zealand now, conditions are different there than they are.
Easier than this though.
Easier than this, you say.
The prospect of playing Ireland too should not stir up the team. India have played Ireland twice before and have won both matches without much fuss. India's captain MS Dhoni too will be looking to win this one, as a win will not just be his team's 5th victory in the competition. A victory at Hamilton will also make Dhoni the most successful Indian captain in the World Cup.
India may have won their first 4 matches and secured that berth in the quarter-final, but up next are giant killers Ireland. They may not be the strongest team in the World Cup or even in this pool, but they've created many upsets in this World Cup already as well, and India will not take them lightly. With camera person Manish Mathur at Hamilton, Shivani Gupta for Headlines Today. All right, so Ireland fighting for the second spot really in Group B if they win their last 2. but they have two tough ones against India and Pakistan. At least one of them they'd like to win and put themselves in contention where they don't have to face either New Zealand or Australia. In such circumstances, Sourav, Ireland already plays very fearless cricket. You know, they're not just here to make the numbers, and they have everything to gain and nothing to lose. In such a situation, this team becomes even more dangerous.
Yeah, they are a dangerous side, and they will enjoy these conditions because they're similar to what they get in the county cricket and even back at home in Ireland. You know, we toured Ireland a couple of years, not a couple of years actually, a long time ago.
It just seems like yesterday for you.
A long time ago, and it was freezing cold. The wickets did a lot, and they were actually a good side. So they will feel at home in these conditions. Australia may be a lot drier for them. Pitches where there hasn't been any sea movement in the World Cup. So they will enjoy playing this. But all said and done, India are a superior side. They just need to beat one of the two teams. I doubt whether they can beat India with the form India is in. India's batting will really hurt them tomorrow because the batting's in form, and there are some big players, you know, who would just take away the game, get big hundreds. With Pakistan, you never know. You never know.
They will
with
target
Pakistan.
the game against
Absolutely.
Pakistan.
They came back and beat South Africa, Pakistan, but you never know what's going to happen day after tomorrow. They've beaten Pakistan once. In West Indies in the World Cup. So
they've beaten one big team in all 3 World Cups they've played.
Yes, so they have a history of upsetting teams, but I doubt whether they have the ability to get past India.
But what about the conditions here, Sourav? I remember speaking to you after the game last match in Perth, and you said New Zealand will be much easier. Now, that's not what we conventionally think, because pitches here do a lot more, at least when it comes to pace bowlings. It swings a little bit more. We've seen that in Auckland at least, if not here.
It swings a bit more, but it doesn't have as much space as it is in Australia. So in terms of pace and bounce, it will be a lot lesser. These are similar to English pitches, where there will be seam movement, and that's why I say the Irish will feel at home in these conditions, where they will have a bit of seam movement for their bowlers, because their bowlers are not out and out quick. They are seam up bowlers who need help from the surface. So they will enjoy bowling in these conditions, but as I said, and I always believe that these are easier conditions in Australia.
And will India like to make any changes at all? Stuart Binney has been warming the bench. I remember when the team was selected, we all talked about Stuart Binney being in this team and what could be his worth. He's a good lower order bat. But we all talked about how in New Zealand maybe he would be more crucial and maybe he will get a game or two. Do you believe that now under these circumstances they would like to change the winning combination at all?
No, they won't. I don't think Stuart Binney will get a game because there's been talk about Ravindra Jadeja not being in the best of forms. But when they go back to Australia for the most important part of the tournament, which is the quarter semis and the finals, they will require an extra spinner on those conditions, because they play in Melbourne, Sydney, and then back to Melbourne for the finals. So in those 3 conditions, they will require an extra spinner, and then Jadeja has to play in Australia, which he will, because I think he's done a good job with the ball. He hasn't got enough runs with the bat. Maybe what India can do is give him a bit more opportunity with the bat here. See if he can get some runs under his belt and get the confidence back. But as a team, I think they're going to go with the same side.
All right, on that note, let's also go across to Jeff Marsh, the former Australian player, selector, and the 1999 World Cup winning coach, who spoke to me earlier about how India is doing in this World Cup, amongst other things. Listen to him and we'll come back with Sourav. 4 wins in 4 matches for India, and they're looking like a champion side all over again. Hopes are rising for them to defend their title, the World Cup title in 2015, this time in Australia and New Zealand. I have a former Australian player, captain, selector, and also the 1999 World Cup winning coach for Australia, Jeff Marsh, with me. Jeff, how good is the Indian team looking?
Well, they're certainly playing good cricket at the moment, and I think that the thing with India, they've been in the country for a long time now and played a lot of cricket, and I think their players are all starting to find some really good form, and yeah, they're playing well at the moment, so we'll just have to wait and see how they finish off.
How impressed are you with their bowling? Because that was always the weak part of the Indian lineup. Batting has always been our strength. But right now, it's actually the bowlers who are leading the charge. And they were quite dismal in the Test series, even in the Tri-Series. Suddenly, such a change around.
Yeah, well, I think they've just... I think in the Test series they bowled okay. I think that, they've just sort of got used to the links and the wickets. But you've got to remember, India have always been a very good one-day side. I mean, they're terrific. They're 2020 and their one-day cricket. I mean, they're world champions. They know what to do. It's just a matter of them finding that consistent form in this tournament. And I think, as I said, they've been here for a long time, and the bowlers have got into a really good groove and bowling really well. So, yeah, they're going to be tough.
Who are you most impressed with in the Indian lineup? Batting, bowling, anyone?
Well, I think Kohli is terrific. You know, I think that you know he's a very good player. But I think with India they've got a really good balanced side. You know, Dhoni's dangerous. You know, they just got a really good balanced side. And you know, if they all hit their straps, you know, they're a dangerous side. And
So is India defending the title successfully this time, Jeff?
well, I think they've got to get over Australia. Look, there's some very good sides in the World Cup. South Africa are playing very well, you know, with De Villiers, the way that he's going at the moment, and their bowling attack. New Zealand are playing very well at home. So that, you know, they're obviously up there. India are up there. You know, Pakistan, they lost the first three in 92 World Cup, came back and won it, and they're, you know, they've done that here. So we'll just see. There's some good sides. It's just who gets that momentum at the end of the tournament and plays really well.
Okay, Jeff Marsh believes India is playing extremely well, and he reiterated that they've spent so much time here in Australia that now, especially the bowling, they've understood the line and length, and they're far ahead of the other teams. But they still have to beat the big teams if they have to win the title, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's what's going to happen when they get to the quarterfinals. They play the big players, and as I've said before, that come the quarterfinals, all the 8 teams have got capability. But as I said, all the 8 teams are capable of beating each other on that particular day. Look at South Africa. They lost to Pakistan. Nobody expected Pakistan to beat South Africa. So you never know in one-day cricket. It's how you turn up that day. It's how about the opposition plays that day. If you lose an important toss on a difficult pitch, it's a completely different game. So there are lots of pluses and minuses in winning competitions. But till now, India has looked outstanding. But then to win the World Cup, they have to keep doing that.
Yes, and come up against other favourites as well. But sort of before the World Cup, we had Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and maybe India as the top 4 contenders. What's your ranking now?
Still the same.
Yeah,
Still
India's 4th place?
No, I'm saying 4 teams.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about semi-finalists, and my 4 semi-finalists were India, Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand, and it's still the same.
But where would you put India now?
I think along with New Zealand, they've played the best cricket. Australia have been outstanding also. And they may have lost to New Zealand, but the other games against England and yesterday against Sri Lanka, they were outstanding. They've got big runs, big scores on the board, and they look a side which has got all end covered. Yes, you can say the spinning department may be a little bit weak, but from the depth, from the pace bowling angle, they're a very, very good side.
All right, so the match coming up against Ireland, and why don't we speak to a local and hear from a local here, Gavin Larson, the bowler who represented New Zealand in the 1992 World Cup. He's now managing the New Zealand leg of the World Cup for the ICC. I caught up with Gavin and spoke to him not just about how India is playing, but also about what to expect in Hamilton and Auckland. Listen into this. The Indian juggernaut now moves to New Zealand. First up is Hamilton, of course, and they face giant killers Ireland next, which could be a tricky game, if not outrightly difficult for India before they move to Auckland. I have Gavin Larson, the 1992 World Cup player and bowler for New Zealand. Gavin, happy to have India here?
Yeah, lovely to have you here.
All right. You must have been watching how the teams are progressing in the World Cup so far. Do you think India firmly in contention for defending their title?
Oh, firmly. I've been very, very impressed with the way they've gone about their business. They're a quality team. They score runs. They've got a great batting lineup. I don't think there's any issue about the run scoring side of things. What I have been impressed with is their fielding, for starters. I think that they've really lifted the bar, and as a bowling unit, you know, a lot of intensity and a lot of urgency, and some good young guys coming through.
But of course, the buzz here in New Zealand will be about the Kiwi contention, isn't it? They've been stupendous so far as well. Do you think this time is their time?
Well, they've got a chance. Yeah, I don't want to get too carried away, because I mean there are some quality teams, you know, in this tournament, and we've just talked about India. There's South Africa, there's Australia, the other hosts who are, you know, they're playing some tremendous cricket as well. And we just saw them score nearly 400 against Sri Lanka just a day ago, which was magnificent. Some dangerous teams still, even in the quarterfinals. You know, the teams other than those big 4, I think there still could be upsets.
Sourav and I are right next to the Waikato River, which runs through Hamilton. Again, a very idyllic setting. Not what you'd expect from bigger cities in Australia or even here in New Zealand. So very nice, cozy, quiet place to come and jog and relax. But talking about the tournament, Sourav, you've mentioned this before, that you've been surprised how big scoring the matches have turned out to be, especially in Australia, We saw 3 consecutive matches where the side batting first scored 400 plus. And are you disappointed at all with the pitches? Are they too generic, and is the home advantage lost in a way?
Yeah, actually, I know in Australia you expect the pitches to have a bit more bounce and pace. Maybe it's the end of their season, so that's why it's got a lot slower. I was watching the game at Sydney yesterday against Sri Lanka playing Australia. It has become very, very dry. I think they haven't left enough grass on the pitch. But as you said, I'm completely surprised with first 400s and even 300s. Even Australia got 360 yesterday.
It's become a pass score.
Yeah, it's become a pass score. Every other team, every other game is scoring 300. So from that point of view, I think the Indian bowlers have done an outstanding job to get 40 wickets in 4 games and not letting the team score more than 220. Pakistan is the only team which got 220. It just goes to show how remarkable they have been.
In fact, I caught up with Gavin Larson earlier, as we showed, and he spoke to us about the ICC's vision, if there is one, and the ICC's directive as far as the pitches are concerned, what they were looking at when they had the tournament here in Australia, New Zealand, and the kind of games that they wanted played here. Listen to this, our story on the pitches in the World Cup.
It's raining runs in Australia and New Zealand. The batsmen have truly taken centre stage at the 2015 World Cup. In a month's time, we've seen new records straight and old ones shattered. The days when a 300-plus score felt safe are passé. Barriers have been breached and expectations raised. In short, 350 is the new 300 in ODI cricket. New field restrictions and power plays have made the World Cup a feast of runs. So much so, even surpassing 400 doesn't seem like an uphill task. Add to that the fact that the Aussie pitches are no longer behaving like the way we expected them to. This World Cup has seen 10 300-plus scores thus far, out of which 3 have even managed to surpass the 400 mark. South Africa became the first team in the history of the game to pile back-to-back 400 scores. The Kangaroos weren't far either, posting the highest ever World Cup total of 417 against Afghanistan. In fact, 2 teams even managed to chase down these 300-plus totals. Ireland stunned all by overcoming the West Indies, and Bangladesh defeated Scotland in a thriller. This though raises the question whether home advantage as a concept has been erased in this tournament. Cricket has always been a game driven by batsmen, and these new highs in team totals have further turned it into a bowler's nightmare and a batsman's delight. With Shivani Gupta in Hamilton, Sports Bureau headlines today.
All right, we could possibly have a big high-scoring match on our hands. Of course, India, if they bat first, would like as many of their batsmen to get a big total under their belt going into the group stage. Any and all momentum is welcome. Former India captain Sourav Ganguly, thanks a lot for joining us. Of course, Sourav will be with us for his analysis after the match as well. That concludes our special from Hamilton. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye for now.